right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 1A State Baseball and Softball Previews. I'm Jonathan Peters along with Richard Sharp as we're going to talk about the 1A Softball and 1A State Tournament. Richard's my favorite time of the year. It's the diamond is ready, and we've dealt with weather. We're going to get this little storm out of here tonight, and we're going to be able to roll for some beautiful baseball weather. We'll play 4 games at Heber on Thursday and 4 games at Westside, and then we're back to Westside on Friday, 4 games, and then Saturday 2 games. Richard will be doing all the softball. I'll be doing all the baseball. Are you ready, Richard?
Absolutely. Let's get it rolling. Glad to have it right here in our, guess you could call it backyard, our neighborhood here in Cleburne County.
I am too. I'm so excited. We don't have to go down south. We don't have to go north. We don't have to go west. We can go just a little bit, about 15 miles down the road, and we got some great baseball and softball up. And let's jump right into those 10 o'clock softball games. And we're going to lead off with a beautiful, beautiful matchup right here. You got number 1, Taylor, taking on Bradford, and number 2, Concord, taking on Lead Hill. Give us a little bit of preview of that game, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone has followed high school softball, not just the past few years, but, I mean, past 20 years, you know that Taylor is always right there in contention for a state championship. They've won, I believe, 6 in a row, dating back to the 2017 season. They're going for 7. No one's ever done that in the history of Arkansas high school athletics or high school softball. No one has ever achieved that feat. They're going to try to do it this season. They have a great chance to get there for sure. Once again, I mean, anytime you can pour into a program like they have down south and just come out as successful as they have. I mean, they've been to the state finals 12 times, 9 state titles. That's more than any other program, like I mentioned. 22-2 overall on the season. They ran the table in their league. 1A8 conference district champions, region 4 champions. They're on a 21-game winning streak. They started the season 1-2 and have won 21 straight since then. On that streak, they've outscored opponents 224-13. I mean, just incredible. That's 10.5 runs a game and averaging. And then they've only given up a little over half a run a game. I mean, it's just incredible. 15 shutouts, 5 straight coming into this week. Just the numbers pop out to you immediately. You look at the junior pitcher, Ayla Buford, and senior catcher, Madison Lindsay. They're probably, in my opinion, the greatest battery in all of Class 1A. They're really stout. As for Bradford, they're the 4th place team out of Region 2. They'll have their hands full in the first round. There's no question. 1A5 co-conference, they did win their district championship. So co-conference champions. They're 2-3 against the 2024 state field, coming in 11-10 overall, 7-1 in the league. But Taylor, man, they have been juggernauts for years and years, and I don't see anything really stopping them trying to get back to UCA, to Conway, City of Colleges once again.
Did you say 224-13 on this winning streak?
Yeah, that's the scoring edge.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. Overall for the year, it's 239-34. I mean, it's just
they've only allowed 34 runs the whole year.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
wow.
It's nuts. Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're shooting for history. Seems like every time they step out there for a state title, they're fighting for history. And again, to say that they have a chance, Foreman back in the 2000s won 6 in a row, or I believe, and so is Taylor. So they're trying to go for that overall mark. And to say that they're a Class 1A school to do that, and no other classification or other school in any other classification has done that, would be quite the feat.
That's crazy, man. That 224-13 scoring edge on that winning streak with 15 shutouts. That's unbelievable. Well, let's get to them Lady Pirates who've been number 2 all year, right behind those Taylor Tigers. Let's talk about them Pirates taking on Lead Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. Lady Pirates have not lost a game against 1A competition. They're unbeaten. Their only 2 losses on the season were to 2A teams and Lake area sports schools at that, Mount Vernon, Enola, and Quitman. Other than that, they've been perfect. 1A2 conference district champions, rolled through conference 12-0, 22-0 overall, 10-0, 10-0 against the state field. Teams that are in this state tournament, they are 10-0 against. Talk about that dynamic ace duo. A lot of times you hear in Class 1A or the smaller classifications, if you've got a good pitcher and a good catcher, they can take you a long way for the postseason. Concord is blessed to have two great pitchers and a great catcher. Those two pitchers, of course, senior Brianna McPike and the junior Lakin Cornett. And then you look up and down that lineup, it is just so stout. The top two hitters in the lineup, both sophomores and both studs, Caitlin Cornett, Ashlyn Cossey, they almost always put the ball in play. Very rarely do they ever strike out. They are making good contact. I mean, that was case in point this past week at the regional tournament at Mark Tree. They just really put a hurting on the ball this past week. So their scoring edge, looking at how they've outscored opponents, 231-67. They're looking to rebound from a first round exit in 2023. In the second straight season, they've been to the post or to the big dance, as I like to call it. Started season 12-0 and won 17 of their first 18 games. They've just been rolling all season. They really have a great chance to get to that state championship game at UCA. It would be their fourth in program history if they're able to do it. They went 2015, 2016, and 2018. They've won 3 straight games and 8 of their last 9. So they are really on a hot roll right now, and they have been ranked right there at the top, right behind Taylor all season. And, man, it would be a marquee matchup. Those two programs met in 2018. Concord led it 1-0 in the 5th inning there at Benton, where they had the state championship game. Taylor scored 2 runs in the 5th inning and were able to hold on and win. So, and part of that 6 state championship run they're currently on. So as for Lead Hill, they're your Region 1 4th place team. These two schools met 6 years ago in the opening round of the 1A state basketball tournament. I remember that. It was held at Morrilton that year. And for Lead Hill, this is their first state tournament appearance of the decade. So they're just continuing to build a program. Sometimes it takes a couple years, but that's always a good thing for a program when they're able to step forward and finally get to that final 16, that Sweet 16 as a lot of people call it.
All right, well, that's first round games between Lead Hill and Concord and Bradford and Taylor at softball. Let's run over here to the baseball real quick, and it must be something in the water, Richard, at baseball because you got Taylor, the number 1 team, taking on Bradford in baseball. Taylor comes in as the number 1 seed out of Region 4. They are the 1A4 conference champs. They are the defending back-to-back state champions, and they're on a 13-game winning streak coming into the state tournament. Here was something I found that was very interesting. They haven't lost a game in the state of Arkansas all year long. They've lost to one team from Arkansas, but that was in Mississippi. So
right.
There must be something in the water for Taylor down there. They come in with a record of 19-4, 10-0 on the year. Bradford comes in as the number 4 seed out of Region 3. They are the 1A5 conference champ. That's a kind of a weak conference they're coming out of. They're 9-14 overall, 5-2 in league play. For the other game, we're going to have Westside taking on County Line. County Line comes in as the number 4 seed out of Region 1. They're the third. They were the 1A West, finished third. They're the 1A West district runner-up. They entered the 1A West district tournament as the number 3 seed, beat Ozark Catholic 12-3, and then turned around and beat Lead Hill in the regional first round before losing the next 2 games. They come in with a record of 7-8 and 4-4 on the year. For the Westside Eagles, they are a record with 24-3 overall, 12-0 on the year. They're on the number 1 seed out of the Regional 2. They are the number 1A2 conference champ and district runner-up. They lost the first game to Midland 12-11, who is in the state tournament this as well, went on a 20-game winning streak before losing in the 2A district championship, or losing to a 2A conference and district champ Southside B Branch. lost to North Fork in the district finals, and went on to sweep the 1A2 regional tournament, which was their third in a row, Richard. And have only lost to two 1A schools on the season, Midland and North Fork. I look for Coach Davis to have those Eagles ready to roll on Thursday. I really do. I mean, they're on their home field. They want to defend their home field. I really look for Coach Davis to have them Eagles rolling.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely 100%. Anytime you can host a state tournament and sleep in your own bed is always a plus. You don't have to travel very far. Of course, they did have to travel a couple hours to get to Mark Tree over there in Poinsett County. They stayed 2 nights over there for the duration of the tournament. And like I said, anytime you get to play on your home field, you've got your home crowd there. It just gives you that much more momentum heading into the event. So, but yes, he has had just so much talent through the years. They have had some heartbreaks. They've had some setbacks, but man, I really seen them play hard this past week in that regional tournament. They really dug down deep and were able to get those victories against some stout competition. I mean, all 3 opponents they played deserved to be there and battled them hard. But they showed that they're a battle-tested team because they year in and year out are contenders. I mean, we had that stretch where they made the state semifinals. I think it's 2 years in a row. I mean, that is not an easy task. You got to win 2 games to get there. And with the pitch count the way it is, the rotation, it can prove to be difficult. So, but yeah, I think he'll have them rolling. They've had a lot of momentum all season long, that big winning streak like you talked about. So, but yeah, anytime you just come out and play right away there on your home field, you got to love that. Got to love their chances.
Most definitely, and you got to put on the senior Jacob Carlton. You probably won't see him on the mound tomorrow, but you know he's looming. You also got the hip kid looming as well, so you know that Coach Davis is ready to rock and roll. And you know County Line wants to play the Spuller, so we'll find that out at 10 o'clock. Let's go right over to softball 12:30 game right here. Here goes Richard.
Yeah, you got the host right there, Westside Lady Eagles, taking on County Line. You look at the numbers for Westside; they're the 3rd place team out of Region 2. They come in with a 500 record, 10-10, finished 5-7 in that tough 1A2 conference with the likes of Shirley, Concord, and Viola. First time in school history Westside's ever hosted this tournament, to my knowledge. They have hosted 2 state basketball tournaments since Brady Hip Arena opened. That's 2009 and 2021. One of the youngest batteries. Look for this battery this week in Eden Murphy, the pitcher, and the catcher, Laney Gentry. Those 2 have worked a lot together, and they're getting stronger. And this team has gotten stronger as the year has gone on, as the season has progressed. Seniors on the roster. I mean, you're going to have a lot of girls come back next year. It's good for them to get this kind of momentum, to get the home crowd on their side, and to just get to play on their home field. Again, they get to no travel, no hotel, nothing. They get to go home, sleep in their own bed, which is a great advantage for them that a lot of teams wish they had had. I know Taylor, for instance, they were the host last year. They got to stay in their own beds or sleep in their own beds, and Westside had to go down there to play. So, but yeah, I mean, they've just been really, really red hot lately. They've been playing a lot better to go to that district tournament. They played Concord within a run. They've been number 2 all season. They in the regional tournament, they came up short in the semifinal round against Shirley, but bounced back against Viola. I mean, those are 2 top 5 teams in Class 1A. Young team, but they're proven that they're hungry and they want to go out there and compete and try to come away with a W. They do have 1 state championship to their credit, coming in 2007, and of course 2 seasons ago with McKenna Biddle at the helm there in the circle. They made another state championship run, came up short to Taylor. So they have been there. A lot of these girls that are on this team, those 5 seniors talked about that are listed on the roster, if that is correct, the 5, they were on that 2022 runner-up team. So they have that experience. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And for County Line, 9-9, they're also even on the season, 500, Region 1 runner-up, 1-4 against the 2024 state field. for Westside, I think they'll be able to take care of business in the first round there, having that advantage of playing at home.
Yes, sir. I think that 1A2 conference, they're battle tested. Those teams that come out of that 1A2 are
Yes,
very battle tested. I mean, you got to play Concord, you got to play West Side, you've also got to play Shirley. I mean, they are very well battle tested, as well as Viola. Don't forget about Viola.
for sure.
So,
For sure.
well, let's go to Nemo Vista taking on Bradley. Here's two big name, schools right here in softball taking on each
Yeah.
other right here in first round.
Right. Yeah. Bradley is fresh off a 2023 state runner up finish to their rival, the Taylor Lady Tigers. We had an all 1A Region 4 state championship game, or you want to call it District 8. They're in the same conference, same district. So, Region 4 runner up, conference runner up, district runner up. 4 of their 8 losses, they're 28 on the season. Half of those losses have come at the hands of the Lady Tigers of Taylor. Fresh off that first state runner-up finish in program history, as I mentioned, they've outscored 2023 state competition last season 32-5 through the first 3 rounds. So when they got there, which that's basically their backyard, playing last year in Taylor like they did, they're also 4-3 in state play over the last 3 seasons. So they are a veteran bunch. Playing 7 state games in 3 seasons will help any program the more and more you go into the tournament like they did last year. And they have pushed Taylor. They have really, really made it tough on those Lady Tigers this season. And I think it was 2-0, 2-1 final. It was within either a run or two, the title game final score from that Region 4. And that's going to be the interesting thing for the quarterfinal round, assuming or if the Lady Pirates of Concord are able to win and these Lady Bears of Bradley are victorious, you've got a quarterfinal matchup between 2 top 5 teams right there. One of them's going on, one of them's not. Again, that's assuming they both win. For Nemo Vista, no strangers to postseason action in this sport. They have 2 state championships, or 3, I should say, 2008, 2011, and 2016. They've been to the finals 5 times. They're returning to the big dance for the 2nd straight season. 1A4 conference runner-up, 3rd place in the regional, 6-9 overall, 3-3 in league play. They're kind of, because they play up in this area, they're more kind of one of our Lake area sports schools. I think they're going to have an advantage, of course, travel-wise, so that might help them a little bit. But they'll have to watch out for Bradley. I mean, when someone has played Taylor that many times, a team of that caliber, it really gets you battle tested. Like you talked about, that 1A2 team playing all each other like as much as they have. It's really helped them, and I think it's helped Bradley a lot facing Taylor so many times these last 2 or 3 years.
That 1A8 conference down there, down south. That's a battle tested conference as well, coming into this. And with Nemo Vista coming out of the 1A3, they haven't played the competition like Bradley, or Taylor, or Concord, but that whoever wins the first round game between Concord and their opponent, and then you got Nemo Vista and Bradley. Wow, that's a great quarterfinal. That's not even a semifinal game. That's a quarterfinal game. So,
Right.
I mean, that's 2 softball fans. You ought to be chewing up on that one. That one's a great quarterfinal game right there.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, if you look at who could link up in the quarterfinals, I mean, you're talking about 4 really tough games right there, and all 8 teams are more than worthy to go on to the semifinal round. Fortunately, 4 won't. So it'll be really interesting to see how it shapes out.
All right, let's roll right over to baseball on the 12:30 games. We're going to have Norfolk taking on Jasper. Norfolk comes in as a number 3 seed out of Region 2. They are the 1A2 district champion. They entered the 1A2 district tournament as the number 3 seed. They beat Concord. They beat Calico Rock. They turned around and won the next game against Viola. And then they beat the undefeated conference champion Westside to win the district championship, to roll in as a number 1 seed. They entered the state tournament on a 5 out of 6 game winning streak. So they won 5, lost 1, and they beat Jasper on March the 5th, 15-4. Jasper comes in as the number 2 seed out of Region 1. They're the 1A East Conference champ and district champion. They started the season 2-6. Since April the 5th, they have won 11 out of 12 games. And once again, they lost to Norfolk 15-4. Richard, I think they've turned things around up at Jasper, and so has Norfolk. This is liable to be a really good classic 2-3 matchup right here.
Right. Yes, I agree. Both teams have really found another gear lately. For Norfolk, I mean, we were talking about that. We talk how loaded the 1A2 is in softball. It's just as much in baseball. And I talked to a good friend of mine recently, and he believes that Norfolk's probably got the best rotation out of anyone in that conference. And that's saying a lot when you're talking about Westside and Viola and Norfolk. And everyone else.
I agree with that comment. When they got into the finals against Westside, when I was broadcasting that game, I said they haven't got no pitching left. Man, they brought the kid out from center field and he pitched 7 innings, 2 hit baseball. I mean, goodness gracious, where did he come from? But I mean, they are loaded. I think they got 3 or 4 great pitchers on that team. And your friend, I know who you're talking about, but he knows what he's talking about right there. They've got the best rotation, and they can throw 4 or 5 pitchers at you that could possibly be number 1s for other schools.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this could very well be a down to the wire top matchup. How many times have we covered the basketball state tournaments through the years? In those 2-3 matchups, we always had them circled because those usually provide a lot of fireworks compared to the 1-4s. So I think it could come down to who gets the timely hit or who gets the big out, just those momentum plays, like how in basketball you have a 50-50 ball or something like that, just an opportunity to pounce on and to capitalize on it. Very well could come down to that. But I think Norfolk, with the strength of schedule they have, playing in that tough conference, that tough region, it will really do wonders for your program the longer you go on in the season. And I think they hold that edge over Jasper because of that.
I totally agree with you, Richard, on that, because Norfolk is battle tested. So, I mean, Jasper, I don't think they're as battle tested as Norfolk. Let's jump over to the 12:30 game between Midland and Bearden. This is another matchup that's another 2-3 matchup, and you got Midland 22-13, 8 overall in league. They were number 3 seed out of Region 3. They're your 1A5 conference and district champion. They started the season 0-4, beat Westside 12-11 in the last inning to win their first game of the season. And they only lost to one other team in Class 1A this year, and that was Nemo Vista. And that loss came in the regional semifinals, 1-0. Now look over here at Bearden. They're 12-11, 7-3 overall. They're the number 2 seed out of 1A4 regional. 1A4 regional. They're the 1A4 conference runner-up. They beat Nevada Hampton in the region tournament before losing to Taylor in the final 6-2. They started the season 0-6, finished winning 12 of the last 17 games. Another classic 2-3 matchup right here could go down the wire. Could be a last inning. Who's going to, home team's going to be Bearden. They might need a win, need 1 run to win the ball game. This could be the matchup right here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Midland has just for years and years poured so much into their baseball program. Couple state championships to their credit. One in the 90s, one in 2012 as well, I believe, early 90s. And yeah, I mean, they really take the sport seriously over there. We've always, when I was in school, they used to be in our conference. We always talked about how much of a baseball school they were, them and Southside B Branch, of course. So, but yeah, it could very well once again come down to the wire and come down to that timely hit or that timely out. Midland's kind of been on a roll. They are no strangers again to that postseason success. They know what it takes. They know the history of the program. They've got a good squad, but hey, Bearden plays the likes of Taylor. Anytime you play again a program like that, year in and year out, you're training up and getting better. And yeah, I mean, we always, and that's the thing about the South, because we live so far up north, up here, North Central, that we just don't know what they have. So when you roll out there with your pitcher and your team, and you're just kind of going through the motions, kind of like how you would in basketball when you need to switch defenses or you don't know if you need to or not. You're just kind of getting a feel for how the game's going and all that. That's the same thing for them down south. They don't know much about it. It's kind of either word of mouth or they just kind of get somewhat of a scouting report. So you really it's too long a drive to go down there and just scout somebody in person or to go watch them. So that kind of is what makes it more interesting, that they don't know each other that well. They just kind of have to roll the ball out there and the bats and see what happens sometimes.
So the winner of Taylor Bradford will take on the winner of Norfolk and Jasper. That's a matchup right there. You know, Taylor possibly, will win the game. Pretty much they'll win the game. Norfolk, Jasper, that's another great second round matchup. And then the winner of Midland Bearden will take on the winner of Westside County Line. Westside could have the matchup with Midland, but they also got to look at Bearden as well. So that could be another great quarterfinal matchup as well, Richard. Yes,
it could. I mean, the quarterfinals, both softball and baseball, are looking to be pretty solid if it goes kind of how we have an idea of how it'll go. But yeah, I mean, that is the day to tune in or to go in person for sure. Is Friday, those quarterfinal games.
Oh, most definitely. Well, let's jump over here to the softball. These are the 1-4 matchups now. It's the 3 o'clock games. So here we go, 1-4, and I'm going to send it over to Richard. It's going to be Hermitage taking on Midland, as well as Viola taking on Scranton.
All right. Well, for the Lady Mustangs of Midland, they are your Region 3 champions, hoisting the gold over there in Wonderview, Hattieville. They have one state championship to their credit. It came 10 years ago, full decade, my senior year. I was there at Bogle Park in Fayetteville. They defeated Viola in the championship game. So a full decade has passed. It's hard to believe. 4-2. They do have that going for them. They are 4-2 against the rest of the teams that they've played anyways in the 2024 state tournament. 4-game winning streak, winners of 5 of the last 6 and 10-2 in their last 12. So they are on a hot bandwagon right now. They're just going to try to continue to roll with that momentum. For Hermitage, it's kind of been a little bit of a battle for them in the last few seasons. This is their first state tournament since 2019. But about that 2019 season, that was the first time they ever played in a state championship game. So they're just looking to build off of that. It's been half a decade, but that you got to start somewhere, and they'll get to start against the Lady Mustangs of Midland, who they take softball very seriously there. Not just baseball, but softball. They eat, live, sleep, breathe it there in Pleasant Plains. There's no doubt about it. And they're constant contenders year in and year out. For Midland, their conference is a little bit on the weaker side. They're regional, but they still have played some good teams throughout the season. I think that's going to help them come tomorrow. For Hermitage. They're in there with the likes of Bradley and Taylor. I mean, just naming those two schools right off the bat, you know that you're going to be battle tested right there. So I look for Midland to pick up the first round win. In the next game, Scranton Viola. Oh, that is a tough draw for either team. In my opinion, you've got the Region 1 champion in the Lady Rockets, 12-10 overall, 4-0 in league play. State championships, they've got 2 to their credit so far, 2009 and 2015. State finals appearances, they've got 3. Their last one coming in 2017. So they're going to look to build off of that. For Viola, they're no strangers to the state championship game either. They've been there 3 times, 2004, 2012, and 2014. 4th place team out of Region 2, which is nothing to hang your head on when you look at the other 3 teams that advanced this state tournament out of that region. I mean, just incredible. Any of those games throughout the season could have just went either way. I mean, Westside played Concord close. Shirley played Concord close more than once. Viola in the semifinal round of the regional tournament had Concord down 2-0 for the Lady Pirates, exploded for 12 straight runs to win in a run rule. So for Viola, I really like their chances here. Scranton, yes, they're the champions out of Region 1. We talked about kind of a little bit of a weaker region. I think for Viola, that being battle tested all season, you've got someone like Haley Cross that's going to go out there in the circle and just get it done. She knows how to. She's a threat at the plate. She gets in the circle, and she is just, true workhorse, just gets it done. So I look for Coach Hughes and the Lady Longhorns to advance in that one.
You are correct there. Scranton, they're the number 1 seed, but they drew probably the toughest matchup they could have drew as a number 1 seed right there. Viola is battle tested, like you said. That's going to be a good game. Scranton's going to have to jump quick. They're going to have to go 1, 2, 3 in that first inning and hope they can hold Viola to nothing on that first inning and then come out and score in that first. You do not want to give Viola a chance to score on you first. If you get behind, you got Haley Cross in that circle, and she will wear you out, in my opinion.
Yes.
And go up to Midland Hermitage. Midland, they, like you said, they live, breathe, and sleep at softball and baseball up there at Pleasant Plains. And I look for Midland to do big things right there. That's a tough team right there. You better watch out for the Midland Lady Mustangs.
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump over to the baseball side of things. The 1-4 matchup will be Mineral Springs taking on Conway St. Joe. And there's the Rockets of Scranton taking on the Hillcrest Eagles. We'll start with Mineral Springs versus St. Joe. Richard, this is the first state appearance for the Mineral Springs Hornets since 1959. Almost 68 years. They entered the year the state tournament with a record of 5-9, the 3-1 overall in league. They're the number 4 seed out of Region 4. They're the 1A7 conference runner-up. Here's the big glaring point about Mineral Springs. They entered the 1A4 regional tournament as the number 2 seed out of the 1A7 conference. They beat a dominant Bradley team. By just a name, you say Bradley in baseball, you know they're a dominant baseball team, to earn their state bid, and they're the only team out of the 1A7 conference in the state tournament this year. So big shout out to the Mineral Springs Hornets as they punched their ticket for the first time again since 1959. But they are dealt with the Conway St. Joe Bulldogs, who come in with a record of 20-3 overall, 8-0 in conference. They're the number 1 seed out of the Region 1A3. They're the 1A4 conference champ and district champ. They enter the state tournament on a 16-game winning streak. Their last loss come to Westside, who is number 1 seed as well, 3-2 on March the 27th. Their only 1A loss in baseball this season. Their other losses come to Mayflower, a 3A school, and Bismarck, a 3A school. Hey, man, you better watch out for the Conway St. Joe Bulldogs.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you there. You got to watch out for them. Those numbers just speak to you. A lot of times they say numbers never lie, and those don't right there. This Bulldog squad is tough as nails. They are poised. They would love to make a deep run. I think they could through this tournament. As for Mineral Springs, hey, that's exciting to say you're the only team out of your conference, and then to go that long without a state tournament appearance, and now you've done it. You're just etching your name in the history books like that. That's always exciting and can give you a little bit of momentum going into the first round, knowing that it's been that long since going to the big dance, since the last team did. But for St. Joseph, man, they play – they're in 1A, but we know them traditionally as a 2A school there in Conway. So they've played some stout teams, and they like to beef up their schedule, and they're not afraid to play those larger schools. So, but man, 20-3, I believe you said on the season. To just come in with that many wins and that few losses and try to keep the train rolling, I think they're going to do that.
Exactly. They're led with some great pitching and great hitting, and man, when I seen those numbers, I was like, wow. All right, here's another 1-4 matchup. You got the Scranton Rockets, 17-4, 8-0 in league. They're number one seed out of Region One. They're the 1A West Conference champ and district champ. They haven't lost a 1A game this whole season. Their only losses come to Pottsville, a 4A school, Hector 2A, Mansfield 2A, and Ozark 4A. They enter the 1A state tournament on a 11-game winning streak, and their last loss come on March the 29th. Now, we said that. Let's listen to these Hillcrest Screaming Eagles. They're 16-10. They're 9-1 in conference. They're the number 4 seed out of Region 2. They're the 1A3 conference runner-up, or 1A2 conference, 1A3 conference runner-up. They're the 1A3 district champion. They beat Concord in the regional tournament to earn the right to state tournament. They've only lost 4 games this season to 1A schools: Westside, Armorel, Midland, and Norfolk. All 4 in the state tournament. What about a matchup between 1 and 4 right there? 2 teams that are hotter than a firecracker right now, fixing to take on each other.
Yeah, that's in this tournament field, that's as tough as a draw as you're going to get right there in the first round. We talk about it's unfortunate one of these teams' season's going to end, but it will tomorrow. I mean, wow, Scranton unbeaten in 1A play, and again, not afraid to beef up the schedule. That's what you got to do. You got to get out there and schedule those tough games like that. And if you win, great. If you lose, that can also be good for your team as you try to build more momentum. You have that opportunity to fill that schedule up, even though, we only got a couple months to play this sport, 2 or 3 months total. But you have that opportunity to call those coaches and get those games booked. And that may be a testament to why they are unbeaten in 1A so far, because they have played those tougher teams, those 2As, 3As, 4As of the world, like you talked about. Hillcrest, man, go back to the semifinal game against Westside. Oh, man, back and forth. Either team could have won that game. It was the Eagles of Westside that prevailed. And but for the Screaming Eagles, man, they just look cool, calm, and collected out there. They had some errors and pass balls, wild pitches that hurt them in the end that that Westside was able to capitalize on. But, man, that game, looking at the later innings of it, could have went either way. So you know that Hillcrest didn't have their heads down after they lost that game. Hey, we just played the number 2 ranked team in all of Class 1A that close, and had a chance to get to the regional championship game to play Armorel, who is just stout too in their own right. A lot of tradition there for the Tigers of Armorel.
You're exactly right. That game was back and forth. You never know who was going to win it. I mean, it was like 3-2, 4-2, 5-3. I mean, it was just back and forth game. And, Hillcrest never got their heads down. They went on to beat Norfolk to get the number 3 seed. And that's another tough team. I mean, these teams come in battle tested right here. These 2 teams, this will be a great ball game. And once again, well, let's jump over to the softball side, the nightcaps of the softball games, and there they are. It's Jasper taking on Shirley at 5:30, as well as Hampton taking on Wonderview. Take it off, Richard.
All right, yeah, we'll start with Shirley there. 15-5 overall, 9-3 in league play, 1A2 conference district or 1A2 conference district or conference and district runner-up, Region 2 runner-up, 5-4 against the 2024 state field, and that's just because they have to play in that tough 1A2. And, hey, they come out the runner-up team amongst the likes of Concord, Westside, and Viola. They've got arguably the best pitcher in the conference in Hunter Hutto. I mean, this girl – through 2 games in the district in the district semis and championship game at Westside a couple weeks ago. She went the full 14 innings and really didn't get tired towards about that last inning. But, man, Coach Jeff Manning says she's got a rubber arm. She can go the distance, and they really look to her to guide the defense there in the circle. You look at Addie Overturf. She is just a constant threat at the plate. Day in and day out. She's got a great glove any spot she plays in. This is back-to-back appearances in the state tournament for Shirley. First round loss to Midland, 7-2 last season. So they're looking to bounce back from that. And I think they're going to have a great opportunity to do that, as well as make a run to, in my opinion, at least the semifinal round, just looking at how the bracket looks. For Jasper, 7-11 overall. It's been a little bit more of a struggle for them. 2-2 in league play. Region 1, third place. 2-3 against teams in the state tournament. Third straight trip to the state tournament. So they do have that. They're one of the, I believe, few teams in this tournament or programs that have been here 3 straight seasons at least. So they do have that to go off of. They know that they have the ability to get to this point in the season. That's so important to have for your morale and for everybody. So, but Shirley, man, they really impressed me in that semifinal. Well, really, just throughout the course of the regional tournament, they come out, took care of business against Mammoth Spring, 13-1, I believe was the final of that. They come out and shut out Westside, who is ranked number 6 in all of Class 1A. Just run-ruled them 10-0, got up early and often, attacked early and often, and got it done. Then they were down 4-0 to Concord and scored 2 in the in the final inning, the 7th. And I believe they had the tying run at the plate, and Concord ran a trick play and was able to get the out at second, or from second going to third. So, and that was the final, 4-2 in that game. So they are constantly playing top 5 teams, not only in the conference, but in the regional. I mean, just day in and day out, they're being tested every day. And I think that's really helped them. They got some girls that can really drive the ball, bring a lot of power. But man, Hutto, she is so special. She's going to North Ark to play next season. So I really like this Lady Devil team. They work hard, and they just know what to do. They go out there and play. They don't make excuses. They just try to get it done, try to get that win.
Yeah, big shout out to Coach Manning right there. He has turned that Shirley program around and got them going in the right direction. And he's got Hunter Hutto in the circle. I mean, you got a girl like that you can rely on. You can turn a program around if you can get some bats.
That's right. Yeah, Abigail Hensley does a great job behind the plate as well. And like I mentioned, you've got to have a good battery. That's what I've heard for years, even when I was in high school. It's ideal to have a good battery like they do in order to make a good state run. So,
well, let's jump over to Hampton taking on Wonderview.
All right. For Wonderview, they're 5-10 on the season, 2-4 in the conference. They're the runner-up of Region 3 that they got to host. I believe it's the second straight season they've hosted the regional tournament. I think they hosted the district as well. Back-to-back seasons. Hey, 2022, 2023, their season ended in the state semifinal round. They're a game away from playing for that state crown. I mean, anytime you're able to do that back-to-back seasons, it just helps you so much for your program. Lexi Gangliff, just a great talent. She's going to play at Arkansas State in Jonesboro after I guess she already graduated, but after she gets done playing for the Lady Daredevils. So as for Hampton, they're kind of a team we don't really know a whole lot about. We just we know they're 13-8 overall, 8-4 in league play, not bad. Third place in Region 4. They've really stepped up with their program. District exits. Their seasons ended in 2021 and 2022 in the district tournament. Last season, exited in the regional tournament, and in this season they finally crossed that threshold and made the state tournament. So they're looking to just continue to build off of that with some more momentum.
Yeah, talk about Hampton. They're battle tested as well. They got to play Taylor almost every in their conference, so they're battle tested as well. So I mean, Wonderview, they come in with a tradition, and they're led by the young lady going to Arkansas State. So I mean, I really think that's another classic 2-3 matchup right there. Anybody could win it. The 2-3 matchup between Jasper and Shirley, I'm going to give the edge to Shirley right there. I think Shirley is almost a 2/1 in my book, because they had to play Concord. They had to play Westside.
Right.
They had to play Viola. But, they lost to Concord in the finals on a trick play. very unique trick play that Concord ran. I mean, it was neat. I mean, I do travel baseball, and wow, what a play! So, I
Right.
mean, hats off to
Yeah.
Coach Cornett for running that play in that moment against Shirley. Hats off to him.
Right.
But as well, hats off to Jeff Manning for turning that program around at Shirley. So, well, let's jump over to
Indeed.
baseball, Richard. That's our 5:30 games. Jasper taking on Shirley and Hampton taking on Wonderview for softball. That's it. We'll be right back with that. We'll jump back into softball. We'll have the last words on softball. But here's our last 5:30 games in baseball. And it's Ozark Catholic taking on Armorel and Hampton taking on Nemo Vista. We'll start with Ozark Catholic. They come in with a record. The Griffins come in with a record of 9-7 overall, 6-2 on the year. They're the number 3 seed out of Region 3. They are the 1A West Conference runner-up. They lost to County Line 12-3 in the district tournament to get the number 3 seed, and the regional tournament beat Omaha 12-2 in the first round of the regional to earn the right to state tournament. They lost to Scranton in the second round and beat County Line 24-1 in the 3-4 game. And then for the Armorel Tigers, another team that's hotter than a firecracker right now. You better watch out for them. They're the number 2 seed out of Region 2. They're the 1A3 conference champ and district runner-up. They beat Viola and Norfolk, the 1A2 conference champion Norfolk, in the regional tournament, and lost to Westside in the regional final 2-1, which Westside had Jacob Carlton on the mound. So just put that in your back of your head. And they've only lost 3 games in Class 1A this season. Hillcrest twice and Westside once. 2 teams that are really good ball teams. The records show it. But I'm going to give the edge to Armorel right here, Richard. They're the hotter team in my book.
Yeah, I mean to play again in that regional like they did last week, and hey, they played Westside so close. I think it's 2-1 the final. Westside had to really fight hard to defend that lead, and they did, and come away with that 3rd straight regional championship. But I mean, they're again one of those teams, one of those programs that just eat, sleep, live, breathe, eat baseball.
I think we might have lost Richard there as he works to get back on. Richard, are you back on yet?
I think so.
Yeah, we're
Can you
back
hear me?
on. Yeah, he's back on. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Technology. He was saying that Armorel lives and sleeps baseball, and you are correct. They do live and sleep baseball at Armorel.
Yes, and for the Griffins, they're kind of, they're kind of coming in a little bit of or I guess you say a big underdog. We don't know them as well for their baseball. I think we know them a little bit more for their basketball. So they definitely got something to prove. They want to come out here and try to compete and try to come away with a win. But man, Armorel is as tough as nails, and they had to fight hard to get to that regional title game. There was nothing easy about it. Same thing for Westside. Both those teams really had to fight hard. And again, you think back to the pitching rules and the.
Oh, we lost him again. All right, let's jump over to Hampton taking on Nemo Vista as Richard works on to get back on. 8-12 overall on the year is Hampton Bulldogs. They're 4-6 on the year. They're the number 3 seed out of the Region 4. They're the 1A8. They come out of the 1A8 and they finish 4th. They lost to Bradley in the district tournament to take the number 4 seed to go into regional. But here's the big glaring point about the Hampton Bulldogs. They beat the number 1 seed, the defending state runner-up, Mount Ida, to punch their ticket to the state tournament. They beat Mineral Springs in the 4th place game as well to get their seed as the number 3 seed. For the Nemo Vista Redhawks, they come in with a record of 11-13 overall, 6-2 in league. They're number 2 seed out of Region 3. They're the 1A4 conference runner-up and district runner-up. They beat Midland 1-0, a team that's hotter than a firecracker as well, in the regional semifinals to play the conference mate in the finals, and they've only lost 4 1A games this season, and that's St. Joe 3 times and Westside. How about them Hampton Bulldogs knocking off the defending state runner-up, Richard?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's all about momentum in this sport. Anything you can use, whether it be a big win or it could be a loss or just a play in general, anything you can use to propel yourselves. Yeah, I mean, they play some tough teams down south. Again, we don't. It's one of those top matchups where we don't really know a whole lot because we know more about Nemo Vista because they're in our neck of the woods compared to Hampton. We just kind of have to see, and I think that's what it is. A lot of times, you just see it may take a couple innings, maybe 3, to get adjusted or to see what adjustments you need to make at the plate or in the field or whatnot. So. And those are so interesting, just to know that those teams play so far away from each other, but they're still going to try to bring it. And for Nemo Vista, hey, a state championship run, lost in the finals 2 years ago, just 2 seasons ago. So those seniors, those kids that are seniors, they have that under their belt. They have that confidence to say, hey, let's try to get back there again. We came up short last year, but we have the guys that were on that team back, and they're veterans. So we'll see what they see. They try to see what they could do there.
Exactly. All right, let's jump over and let's go over the bracket one more time right here. This is the softball bracket. Top seed Taylor taking on Bradford. Once again, they'll get the winner of County Line and Westside. Midland Hermitage. Shirley versus Jasper on the bottom half of that bracket. If you're looking at that bracket, Richard, I'm going to go Taylor, Westside, Midland, Shirley, and then it's just going to be a toss-up in that quarterfinal games. On the other side of the bracket, you have Concord taking on Lead Hill, Bradley taking on Nemo Vista, Scranton taking on Viola, Wonderview taking on Hampton. You got to give the edge to the Lady Pirates. That 2-3 matchup between Bradley and Nemo Vista could go either way. Another 1-4 matchup that could go either way with Scranton and Viola, and Wonderview taking on Hampton. And what's your final thoughts on the 1A bracket as they are making their way to Ferris Field at UCA?
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, Taylor, no doubt the strongest team on their side, and I really think they're going to make a great run at it again, trying to go for that 7th straight state championship that no other program has achieved so far in the state of Arkansas. But yeah, I mean, it's really stout. I really think the quarterfinal round is going to be tough. Taylor, I think Taylor's going to take that first one. Then Westside, just having that home field advantage is really going to help them. I think Midland should get it done against Hermitage. Shirley over Jasper, and then Concord over Lead Hill. I think Bradley's going to take down Nemo Vista, and then Viola, I'm going to say they're going to pull the 4-1 upset. Although to me, I really don't feel like it's much of an upset considering how stout Viola has been. They went to the state tournament last year and lost only 4-0 to Taylor in the quarterfinal round, and that was a really close game through and through. So I think they're going to want to try to capitalize off of that, to know that they played the defending state champions that close, that they're going to have a good shot to try to make a good run again. As for the final game, I think Hampton's going to get it done. That just playing a team like Taylor or Bradley all season, that makes a really stout quarterfinal round. I mean, you're looking at, assuming that it goes out that way, you're talking Taylor, Westside. Taylor's got to make that long trek all the way up from, it's pretty much Louisiana if you think about it, all the way up to Greers Ferry. And then in the next quarterfinal game, I mean, Midland and Shirley, 2 teams we're kind of more accustomed to. And then on the other side, you get Concord and Bradley. Boy, that could be the biggest game of the day in the quarterfinals right there, considering those 2 have been ranked 2-3 all season long. And then that final quarterfinal, I think it's in my opinion, Viola versus Hampton. So, through and through a tough quarterfinal. And then Taylor, I really just feel like they've got a lot of momentum. I mean, 21 game winning streak, and they've outscored opponents that much. It's like just another day at the office when they roll out there to them. And for Concord, I think that they should be okay in the first round, but they might run into a little trouble there in that quarterfinal round, assuming Bradley wins. But if they can get past that quarterfinal game, I really like their chances in the semis, and we could have a Taylor Concord State Championship game, I think.
And you talk about a great game there at Ferris Field at UCA. That was a dream matchup. That game could be 1-0 through 10. I mean, that's how good these two teams are. I mean, I really think that quarterfinal between Westside and Taylor, Bradley, and Concord, that could be the winner of those to come to play the state championship. Could come out of those top two quarterfinals.
Right, I agree.
So,
yep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the baseball bracket real quick, and we'll jump on it real quick. Baseball, you're going to have Taylor taking on Bradford. They get the winner of Jasper Norfolk. Two good teams right there. I'm going to give Taylor the edge there, and I'm going to go with the 3 seed, the Norfolk Panthers right there over Jasper. St. Joe taking on Mineral Springs. St. Joe is just loaded with talent. They just rolled all over Mineral Springs in that game. Armorel taking on Ozark Catholic, another 2-3 matchup. I'm going to go with the 2 seed Armorel Tigers in that one there. So you got Taylor taking on Norfolk. You got to give the edge to Taylor right there, but do not sell on them Norfolk Panthers. Now, like Richard has said before, they've got one of the best pitching staffs. They're loaded with pitching. So look out for the Panthers right there. That's kind of a trap game for the Tigers. You got San Joe taking on Morel. That's a great quarterfinal matchup. I'm going to give St. Joe the edge right there, and then it would possibly be Taylor St. Joe in the semifinals. That ought to be a great matchup on Saturday. Flip it over to the other side. You got Westside County Line. You got to give the edge of Westside, home field advantage. Plus, I think they're playing a tougher conference in County Line. Bearden Midland. Richard, you almost have to flip a coin. I mean, this game could be a 1-0 ball game going into the 8th or 9th inning in extra innings. That's how good this game's going to be. This first round game, and the game of the day. I'm going to give the edge to Midland. I'm going to give the edge to Bearden. And then Scranton Hillcrest, another matchup. Man, how did I get blessed with 2 matchups back to back right there? Scranton Hillcrest, 2 tough teams. I'm going to give it to Hillcrest. I think they're going to pull the 4-1 sweep right there. And Nemo Vista versus Hampton. I got to give it to Nemo. Then Westside taking on Midland, or who did I say, Bearden or Midland? That's a total.
Bearden.
Okay, Westside Bearden. I got to give it to Westside. I think Bearden's going to use everything they got against Midland to get there, and I think they're going to be out of pitching. Hillcrest, Nemo, I got to give it to Hillcrest. Westside Hillcrest, another back and forth matchup. Could decide who goes to Bear Stadium and take on the Taylor Tigers at Bear Stadium at UCA. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really like Taylor on their side. I think, like you said, they might run into a little trouble in Norfolk, and Norfolk's pitching staff is just so stacked, so solid. So it could be a really close game all throughout. I really like St. Joseph in their quadrant. Armorel as well. That's going to make one whale of a quarterfinal game. I mean, your quarterfinal games here are going to be stout too. There's no doubt, like you mentioned. Yeah. I like Westside against County Line. Oh man, I kind of want to give that to Midland. I think in this one, just because they're just so much closer. It really does. It really can take a toll on you when you have to travel that far, like Bearden has to. And for Midland, that's just a county over, basically, from Independence County into Cleburne. You're right there, but for Scranton Hillcrest, that's a tough draw, I think, for either one. I think, like you said, Hillcrest will prevail in that one. And then I like Nemo Vista against Bearden. I agree with all of your picks. And you got Taylor Norfolk in the quarters. Give the edge to Taylor. I think they have just been there enough. They're one of the most veteran bunch of all of these teams. I'd say Westside's right up there. They've made some great runs. And for Westside, this is, like I said, their first time hosting the state tournament. that I know of in program history. So they're going to try to finally break through. They've been so close to that state championship game. They've made a couple runs to the Final Four in recent years, but I think they're finally going to break through and get there. Of course, pitching will play a big role into that when you can get timely hits. There's a lot of things that you have to focus on in baseball that you don't have to in softball. You can throw the same softball, it's the same pitcher in softball in the same day in a couple games, like Shirley did a couple weeks ago with Hutto. So, but man, those quarterfinal games are incredible. St. Joseph Taylor, that's kind of what I'm looking at in, like you said, in the semifinals, and then man, probably I feel like Hillcrest is really. I think they might come in with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, and they're going to try to get back there and test Westside again. I just feel like that they didn't. It didn't end the way they wanted it to, and they're going to build off of this regional tournament that they finished fourth place in, and try to really make a push there for the semis. But I really, again, Westside, they don't have to travel. Seems like in recent years they've had to travel a lot, whether it's to Taylor or to Izard County or wherever the state tournament was held. But hey, they get to sleep in their own beds. They're at home. They're at their home field. They know it better than anybody else does, and that I think will help them on their run. And again, for Taylor, I think it's just going to be experience and being able to just show up and show out like they've done in all those years. We talk about the history in softball. They are just as historic in baseball. I mean, the numbers, you can look up their finals appearances and state titles. It's just days and days of history there from Taylor. So
I totally agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're going to watch the game tomorrow, you will click on LakeAreaSports.com. This is kind of what the screen will look like. If I can get my screen to work here. All right, so you'll come. Well, let me go back here. This is LakeAreaSports.com. This is what the screen will look like. Come on. A little storm coming through our area right now, so it's kind of why it is. But you'll click. Okay, there it goes. So you'll click on the logo right here where you'll come to the home page. This is kind of what the home page will look like. You'll click right here on the state logo, 1A2 state logos, and that will take you to this screen here. You will choose one of the ones you want to watch. You can watch baseball or softball. Let's say you want to watch baseball. You're going to go to this screen right here. Okay, so you will log in or join today. So when you join today, if you're not a member, you'll join this. This will be your information you got to fill out. You either choose the 5-day pass for the whole tournament, or you can do the all-season pass, which I don't know why you would do that one. But you can also do the stream 1-day pass for $7.99. You'll put your card in there, you'll register it, and then it's going to bring you to a screen. And I'm going to go ahead and log in just to kind of show you what it's going to look like. What it's going to kind of give you here. I'm going to try to log in if I can remember my password, Richard. You got to put me on the fly right here. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to be able to do it, so it just kind of jammed up on me. We got a little storm coming through our area. But when you log in right there, you'll log in. It'll bring you to a screen. These two logos will be back. It'll show you like a receipt for what you paid for, and these two logos will appear. All you got to do is click on those two logos, and it will take you right straight to the game. And then, the games will be there as well. So we've had a mass confusion going on with all that. So everybody, that's how we do it. If you have any trouble on the day of the tournament, there's an email right here for all your login issues. Email this. It's GraceFerryLakeAreaSports@gmail.com. I get it. My wife gets it, as well as my boss in Fairfield Bay gets it as well. So if you have any trouble, that's how you can get a hold of us. We've made it as easy as you can. Once again, it's $15.99. All the games are recorded. So if you're a young man, young lady, have a great game, you can go back and actually purchase that from us on our digital downloads program as well. Richard, as we are going to log off here, I'm ready. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. I'm really excited, especially for Friday. Man, oh man. I mean, that both softball and baseball from Greers Ferry. The first 2 days will be split for those that don't know. The In softball, the bottom half of the bracket will be played at Heber Springs, and for baseball, the top half will be so. And then in softball, the top half will be played at West Side because they're on the top half. So as for in baseball, they're on. I guess they would be on the top as well. So,
Yes.
but all right. So
It'll
yeah, but
it'll
really
be
looking
it'll
forward to
be
it.
me and Richard on the call with baseball and softball, as well as Gavin Strother and Rodney Burrow, and then we're also bringing the big Mr. Young Gun in, Mr. Jacob Cater tomorrow as well. And then on
Yeah.
Friday it'll be me and Gavin on baseball, and then Richard's there with, I think Gavin's got one game too, don't he? I'm not sure. And then I think it's me and you on Saturday, semifinal
Right.
day to send them to UCA. Ladies and gentlemen, once
Yeah.
again, LakeAreaSports.com is your place to watch the 1A state tournament. Richard, see you tomorrow. Well, I won't get to see you tomorrow. You'll be in Heber. I'll be in Greers Ferry. So have a good day, and we'll get off here. And everybody stay weather aware. These storms are rolling in as we are talking. So